Hello and welcome to MGP episode 508. I'm Sheepdog and with me this week is Pab. Say hello, Pab.
Hello.
Hello, you paused there. It was almost like you were waiting for us to all shout stuff.
I did a little bit.
Kevin and Anna are gallivanting. I think they said something about going off to get in the queue for E3 tickets before they sell out, wasn't it? Or something like that. They were quickly
they're camping somewhere now, just dejected.
Wanted to beat the crowds, but he's not taking his phone. He's not reachable. He's just going to focus on getting them tickets. He doesn't want to miss it. Every year for the past decade, he's missed it. So he's there camping out in the streets. How you doing? You had a good week?
Well, it's just fine. Usual sort of thing.
Nice and upbeat.
It's just everything. I feel like everything goes wrong at the wrong time sometimes with these computer. Well, it's not even a computer. It is a computer.
I don't think we covered this last week on air. We touched on it briefly, but Pabby's computer's broken.
It's not broken. It works, but it's just well, I don't know. I genuinely don't know whether it's.
You told me last week you'd got a new graphics card and it was a millimeter too big for the case. Did you shave it?
No. We did. That was dealt with. That was dealt with a brand new case, which was fun.
Oh, great. I thought you were going to say I just forced it in. I would have forced it in.
I mean, I could have done, but it's an expensive graphics card that I didn't really want to take a chance on.
Let you in on a little secret, Pabby. If it had broken, I'd have gone back to the shop and gone, oh, it was like that when I got it. And they would have replaced it for me. But, yeah, I would have forced that in, and that would have just been there leaning. I mean, I would have been wondering why my computer was making this vibrating sound all the time, anytime I had to use graphics intensively. But, yeah, I would have definitely used a bit of force. But so you got that in, you got a new case. Did you get a good one?
Case? I just went in. I went into the shop that I'd been in the morning to get the graphics card. I went and drove all the way back. I need a case that's going to fit this in. And then I just gave it, he just went, this will fit it. And I went, okay, that's fine.
If I'd have thought of it at the time, Pabby, I'd have referred you to Aquarium Info on YouTube. There's a lady there that makes aquariums, and I watched a video where she made a gaming PC and an aquarium, and she had fish living in a PC. And I mean, I was sat there thinking those fish are going to die the second you try and play a game, but they didn't. Apparently, allegedly, they stayed cold. She had a little fish tank PC and is doing well. I did look at mine, thinking mine is glass. I'm basically a bag of fish and a hose pipe away from having my own aquarium fish tank PC thing. So
that works, but there and then, Sheepdog, I don't think she'd have rushed job to me a fish tank. So
you ain't watched the videos, mate. You ain't watched them.
No,
She's
them
good.
videos are very heavily edited, Sheepdog. They don't she doesn't take literal 10 minutes to make a fish tank
I think you need to see her, mate. She does. I mean, there's a couple of tricks of the camera going on, I'm sure, but she rings up her people at whatever the company's called.
Yeah.
Gives her the plastic. Yeah, she sorts it all out. I've seen that woman make a turtle-shaped one, and all these Minecraft-themed ones, run a train through it. Basically, I tried to go through a thing I did with Ben, with Ollie, where I go through the alphabet, make you can watch a video beginning with A, a video beginning with B. I showed Ben a video on this woman's axolotls, and then we just ended up watching her entire channel over the course of a week because she just makes insane fish tanks. So, yeah, that's been part of my month of just any time we've got downtime, it's just Ben and me sitting around. We're like, shall we watch her build another fish tank then? And it's a weird thing that we've both it turned out we enjoy watching. So yeah, you could have had a fish tank PC if you could have made it yourself. It took her like 12 minutes. You could have spent half an hour on it and made it yourself. But yeah. So the case and the graphics card are in, and yet the PC is still playing up. What happened next?
No, so we think that this isn't me. I've literally watched it being put together and whatever. I don't know what I'm doing with this sort of thing. I know basics, but I wouldn't start faffing with thermal paste and stuff like that, which is what needed to be done. So we had to get the cooler radiator type thing. You had to put all the fans on it and what have you to align. Yeah, I don't know. And then reset it on the processor, but it's still
painting a picture of words here, Pab.
It's so. I imagine you probably have like a cooler. You don't just have a fan on your processor, do you?
Well, I mean, I'm ice cold, Pabby, so anything near me just stays cool naturally. So I don't know what's in mine. I can't remember. I think I scrolled down the bottom of the list and clicked the one that sounded fancy because it had a big number
I
next
think
to it.
it's probably you probably will have a cooler on it. I would have thought.
I mean, 10 years ago, I'd have known the answer, but since hanging around with Kev for a best part, well, over a decade now, yeah, I just scroll at the bottom and click the one that sounds expensive. It's probably
It's some
right.
sort of special cooler anyway.
Yeah.
But so we assumed it was the thermal paste was just had its day. So
Does that happen? I thought the paste was just
but it can
okay,
eventually it can dry up at a certain point.
Out-of-date
and apparently it was
toothpaste.
sorry.
Out of date toothpaste. That was your problem.
Well, yeah. So it was reapplied and what have you, and we thought that would solve it. It hasn't solved it to the point where I run anything on it. I run YouTube on it, and it fires up to about 85 degrees.
Are you sure you got like anti-thermal paste and not like paste that makes stuff warm? You ain't got like thermos paste, have you?
I don't think they make that. I don't think that's a thing.
Well, what do thermos flasks get made from? How do they keep tea warm if they're not full of paste?
I don't know.
Well, you might have put some sort of tin paste all over your computer, and now it's boiling hot. And
it's well, yeah. I mean, that's just running YouTube. I put Fortnite in when I initially did all the setup and whatever, and I thought, right, okay, it's got a new graphics card, and just whack everything on full. Yeah, it's great, but it doesn't. It just makes everything stuttery, which I then attribute to the processor. Then
I'm
being
hoping
too hot.
there's a listener who will just be able to go, I know what the problem is, Pabby, and they'll just tell you to press
I suspect there's several problems which could be. It's like me slowly building a new PC one part at a time, week by week.
Maybe when you fall asleep, nighttime Pab, your night Pab just gets up and sticks a spanner in the works, and then day Pab wakes up and it's like, there's toothpaste everywhere. Like, what have I got to do now? The motherboard don't fit or whatever the problem is. Maybe it's night Pab.
So, I mean, like, I've ordered a new cooler. I'm getting a new cooler tomorrow. It's getting fitted tomorrow. If that doesn't do it, then
launch it out of a window and claim it on the insurance.
Essentially, you're looking at a new processor. And if you need a new processor, potentially a new motherboard, which is effectively a new PC, which is what I didn't want to do in the first place.
Like a triggers broom situation going on here, where you go, I didn't buy a new PC, I just upgraded the old one.
Yeah, bit by bit by bit by bit. The only thing that'll be in it is the same thing as like hard drives and RAM, I imagine, at this point.
You've got to learn to reach a point where you just roll it down the stairs and then tell someone you've dropped it while you were walking. It's much easier, Pab. You make life hard for yourself trying to do it that way.
It wasn't ever the plan. It wasn't ever the plan.
You don't plan, do you, Pab?
I asked the question, is it time for a new PC? And I was told no. I think most
Didn't we all say yes?
Sorry?
Was this your friends?
Yeah.
I'm sure you asked Kev and I, and we were like, yeah, go for it.
They said that your graphics card, you could probably get a new graphics card and everything else is fine. Everything else will be fine. But now I'm starting to think, is just the power that the graphics card is not, the sheer strength of the graphics card is too much for the rest of the system, and now I'm being bottlenecked by the rest of the system. Or is it?
I don't know that that's really a thing, is it? Maybe it is to an extreme. Like, to be fair, I don't know how old your stuff is, but I don't think that's a thing on like
2019. I built this.
Yeah, that shouldn't be that much of a thing at that point.
No, well, that's what he said as well. So I mean, that's the thing. So I'm hoping that it's just the cooler, because he said that the cooler that I've got is fine. He said, but he's not a massive fan of the make of it. So there's a chance of it could be slowly failing. So we got a different make. We got a Corsair one.
This might sound like the dumbest suggestion ever, but have you tried like opening it and just running a normal fan while it's open, just to see if it runs? If it's like, oh yeah, with a normal fan on it, it goes all right. Then sticking a fan in is going to fix it.
Well, it's not the fans that are the issue, because it's like a cooler. It's like a water cooler. So,
okay.
So
I don't think I've got a water cooler in mine, but I haven't looked at it in a while. It's just I paid for a fancy light up case, and then I stuck it down in a corner against the wall, so I can't see any of the lights.
So you don't even turned it the right way, so it faces outwards.
Well, if I turned it the right way, the on button would be at the back underneath my desk, and all the wires would be sticking out.
That's fine.
Facing me.
That's how you want it.
How is that how I want it?
Then you've got access to all your ports at the back.
Oh, Pab, you're cleverer than you look sometimes. It annoys the heck out of me going under there. Why didn't I think of that?
And then you just reach and push the button.
I don't trust my kids to not come and
just
pull
stare
stuff
at
out.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm tempted to move it. I've got when I headbutted the wall the other week, it was moving a unit into this room, and I did think to myself, putting the PC on there might be nice, and then I could just stare into the abyss of the case. When I put the fish in there, they can swim around and they can wave at me.
So in me ordering a new going to the shop and going, I need a case that fits this, and he went, yeah, this will fit it. I didn't take in my sheer just urgency to get a case and get it done and dealt with. I didn't take into consideration the size that I need to fit it in the slot that the old one went in, and now it doesn't fit right. And now I've got a three-legged case that sits firmly. Now if I nudge it, it kind of tilts over because it's wonky now because it's only got 3 legs on the base of the desk. Every
decision you make leads to 4 more things you need to do.
It seems insane, doesn't it? But
new desk now.
Well, yeah, I need a new desk anyway, but. That's another story, but so
you're going to get a desk and realise it doesn't fit in the room, and you have to move house, and then you're going to move house and realise that something else has happened, and it's just going to go on and on.
So the saga continues. We'll report back next week with what I'm buying next weekend.
Good Lord,
it's just been frustrating because I didn't realise. Like I say, I assumed it would just be fine, and to a certain aspect, it works fine. But like,
you'd just got a file out and filed the end off that graphics card, you'd have been laughing.
It's not even that, though. I'd still be in the same situation. I've still got the same parts in it. It's just a different case. But like, I thought like I've got a 4070 Ti, which is decent enough, I would say, to be able to play Fortnite on the high settings. And when I'm having to pare things down because it can't handle a steady frame rate, it's what's concerning me is like, why is this behaving like this when I've just paid a lot of money for a new graphics card, which in theory should just be able to do it all. And now I'm having to pare it all down, which is what I was doing in the first place, which put me in this situation with me wanting the new setup anyway, because I was having to compromise my settings to make things work better, and I was playing Fortnite in pretty much potato mode because then I wanted the high frame rate and all this sort of thing.
I mean, if you're worrying about frame rates and it's too expensive to get the right sort of frame rates, the trick is to just poke yourself in the eye so they don't work as good. Because I don't know about frame rates.
I did effectively. I capped it to 6. I normally run Fortnite at 120, and I've capped it down to 60, and it stays at 60 all day long. But
so why do you need to go above that when you could just squeeze your eyes a little bit?
When you've only ever played it at 120, it feels weird trying to pare it back.
You strived for better, and now you're stuck. Whereas me with me,
well, in theory, I shouldn't have an issue. This is the thing, you see. I've got a graphics card that's pretty much relatively brand new. With it, I know it's not a 4080, but a 4070 Ti is pretty damn good, and it should do all this stuff without an issue.
It should play Fortnite without any issues for sure.
Well, it should play Fortnite to a high standard anyway. And when it stutters and its frames are all over the place, and then I look at the temperature of my processor and it's at 95 degrees steady. It's like that. I
mean, without going into full on bits and pieces territory, what is the kind of temperature that they should be at when they're doing flat out? Like I can't remember now.
I don't know, but
like, are you not worrying about something that actually is normal?
Well, I thought it could just run hot, but the fact that it stutters and what have you, it's not that the fact that the graphics card can't handle the settings it's doing. which points to be something else, which would be like I say, I can literally open up the software right now, and it's at 50 odd degrees. If I open YouTube, it pushes it to 85 degrees. For me to watch a YouTube video, the processor should not be working that hard. You know, I mean, I can even open like Task Manager up and just say.
Apparently, the majority of graphics cards are equipped with an upper safe temperature of 95 to 100
It's not the
degrees.
graphics card that's the problem.
Well, what's heating up that much then? Oh, right. Okay.
And
but
I never looked at the fact what the processor did in the past, like temperature wise. I used to, and then I did a fresh reinstall of Windows. And I never installed the software to check my temperatures again. So when I reinstalled it this time, like it's a difficult thing to. I mean, my graphics card is currently 30 degrees. It's not an issue right now.
Okay.
But my processor is at 50.
For anyone wondering what that banging was there, Mrs. Sheepdog just come in to get the Hoover, and I was like, don't Hoover. I'm doing
Hoover
a
in time.
podcast. Yeah, like, you've got the whole weekend to Hoover. There's no possible need to do that while I'm in the middle of doing this. I'm going to be doing this for like another half an hour. So, yeah, sorry if you heard banging around there. You probably heard nothing, but it threw me a little bit. You're talking, and I'm like running my hand across my neck going, no, don't Hoover. Do not Hoover. So yeah, hopefully the
hopefully
PC...
that is the case, that is the problem with it, and it isn't the other problem of new processor needed, because it just isn't up to it. Because if it is, like I say, new processors don't necessarily fit older motherboards. Like different chipsets fit different motherboards.
I'm still not going to rule out that you haven't accidentally rubbed deep heat all over your computer and thermal paste all over your muscles or something.
It's not deep heat. It came in a little syringe, and you got kind of squirted onto the coolant. The little
yeah.
Pad
I think I have done that before.
But...
Actually, yeah, I do remember squirting some paste on something like that a long time ago. I wouldn't bother now. I feel like I would be too calamitous these days.
It's just a nuisance, because I've then got to effectively dismantle the computer again, because you can't get to that processor and the cooler and whatever you without taking the graphics card. So you have to take all the graphics card out, take all the power out of it.
Stuff like that makes me feel anxious, because I know that I am just like one mistake away from causing myself an enormous bill. So anytime I need to open something like that, I'm like, this could be another day where I ruin everything. So yeah, I wouldn't want to update. I wouldn't want to open it as much as you're having to at the moment.
It's not ideal. But
you'll get there.
I'm hoping that, like I say, be done this weekend, and I can be back to normal sort of over the next week or so. But it could continue. The saga could go on. It's just a frustration, like I say, because I don't want to. I'm sick of going back to the shop. I'm sick of keep going back and forth to the same shop.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine. They'll be like, you again.
Buying the same parts, buying parts over and over again, just keep going one part at every week. It's really...
They're having a laugh because they're giving you all the ones that they've heated up. They've been running them under a air dryer and heating them up, just so that you put them in and then wonder what's going on.
I do like having that shop like 20 minutes from me. It's all right.
Is it Scan or someone like that?
Scan. Yeah, Scan is like 20 minutes from me. 20 minutes drive. It's just not bad. It's just like I say, I don't like having to go to places if I don't have to, and especially there.
I've had a weird one this week of so my house is like a bomb site. There's stuff everywhere, and we've had people in doing our kitchen, but and I'm not going to go into too much detail because I've been filming the process. I've been filming the journey of the kitchen being built and all the stupid things that keep happening. But I will talk about the fact that Monday, Geezer come around to do the kitchen, and I nipped out just to get myself some milk for a cup of tea, like in the kitchen. And he was just sat there. And I was like, "You're all right." And he's like, "I've wrecked my knee." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I was just like moving something, and now my knee's just gone, and I'm in agony." And I was like, "Do you want a painkiller? Do you want a drink? What do you want?" He's like, "I'm just gonna sit here for a minute. I might have a cigarette." And then I was just getting on with my work, thinking he'll be fine. And then my wife's at the door talking to his wife, who's come to get him to take him to hospital. And he sent a picture of his like knee in this big like bandage, and he was just like, yeah, I'm wrecked. I've ruined my knee. And then we were like, what on earth? Like, we were just waiting to see what he was going to do next, like what was going to happen. And the company, the guy who sold us it, apparently he normally rings the engineers and says like, how are you getting on? What's going on? And the engineer obviously wasn't answering the phone because he was at hospital. So the guy was like, well, I don't live far away. I'll nip round and see what's going on. And when he arrived here, there was no van, nothing going on. So he knocks on the door and he's like, what on earth? Like, where is the guy? Why hasn't he been here? And we had to explain to him, and he was like, oh, I'll try and find someone else. So he's just been ringing around trying to find someone. Luckily, they did find someone Wednesday. They come round, but for like Monday, Tuesday, we just had a complete, like, the guy had basically ripped our oven out, thrown our microwave away, pulled out a few other bits and pieces, and wrecked all the cupboards, and then gone. And it was like, okay, we can't even just pretend it didn't happen. We couldn't like slide the oven back into place and plug it in, or just reassemble the kitchen. He just basically wrecked it and then gone, oh, my knee, and left. So we were all like sympathetic, and a new guy who's come along was like, the amount of jobs I get invited to take over after this guy is unreal. He was like, this isn't the first job I've had to come and do after him. It is like the main. That's my job, seems to be to turn up after he's done his little bit. And we didn't say exactly like that, but I was sat there thinking, this is ridiculous. Like, I didn't realize this was an ongoing thing. The guy was like, oh, I don't know what's happened. My knee never does this. I've never had this before. And then the other guy comes along and is like, this guy again. Like, I feel like I'm just constantly carrying on these jobs for him, and he's like telling me over and over again how it's always the same thing. So they've been doing a good job since, and it's just been a very weird ordeal. But yeah, my week's been a bit all over the place. I've had time to play games, but other than that, I've kind of just been knackered with like doing this, that, and the other, end of year at work, or the game jam I've been talking about all through the month so far. But I say the month so far, we started in mid-March and we're finishing at mid-April. But it's been a nice busy time for doing all that, and I've just, it feels weird doing everything from, I've got the Ninja set up in the office, I've got the kettle set up next to me, and all of this. Just, it's weird having everything in the same room. When I'm not playing a game or doing a podcast or whatever, I just stay out of this room now because it's like I'm in here too much. No, God. So have you got any games you want to start off with? We crack on with that, and or shall I crack on with my bits?
Sure. Because I've the PC troubles, I've not been playing a great deal on it because I just can't be bothered. It just annoys me. It gets on my nerves. So I have been playing tiny bits on my Steam Deck. I still haven't done. Somebody messaged me. I can't remember who it was now. Somebody messaged me about some sort of performance utility software or something like that. I can't remember what it was.
What, to make games play better, you mean?
Yes, on the Steam Deck. Yeah, it's supposed to like utilize the it uses,
we're very technical people.
It's some software that utilizes the
gigaflops,
the memory to make it. I don't know, something. It utilizes the memory to make games perform better, so you don't run them all on the lowest settings and whatever. Somebody said it to me about a month ago, and I completely forgot. I saw it at work or something, and I was like, I'll do something with that later on. I completely forgot. And I've still not done anything with it, but I know about it now. I've seen it, and I've seen the video, so I know what to do. But I just some evenings I just find myself just not quite tired to go to sleep, but I don't want to get up and get the computer on or turn on the PlayStation or whatever. In fact, I could tell you about. There's something else I've just remembered as well. So something else coming soon. But yes, I've been playing. I played a little bit of Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, which I think is like a. If I remember rightly, it's. I don't think there was a remake of Super Monkey Ball a little while ago, and this is the more recent one, which I think is like a greatest hits of all of them. I can't remember rightly.
There's a lot of them, and they're just like they just kept making.
Oh yeah,
them,
they stopped making them. I want to say. When did they stop making them? I want to say maybe. No, it can't have been around. GameCube era is where it started coming out, didn't it? I think. Then it probably went to the Wii, and then that's probably as far as it got to. I don't think it got much further than that.
I'm wondering now. I feel like it came out before there, but maybe I'm thinking
Super Monkey Ball. I feel like it was GameCube time. Because before GameCube 64, it wasn't around 64. It must have been GameCube. But yeah, I forgot how much I like Super Monkey Ball type of games. I just played a few of the, like the first few worlds of the thing, and the perseverance of like trying to get to the goal. And my initial thought was like, okay, I'm gonna get all the bananas. That goes out the window almost immediately. It's like, I'm not getting the bananas. I just want to get to the finish line because there's a timer on running the ball down the track, and you don't.
Weirdly, that's not the first time I've heard you say that. Like all the salad buffets I've been to with you over the years, I'm gonna get all the bananas. That's basically your catchphrase at this point.
I don't overly like bananas. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a big fan of
You
bananas.
just want to stop people eating them. You want to remove them all so people stop buying them.
It's
You're right though. Apparently, it started off as an arcade game and was ported to GameCube. So yeah, continue.
yes. So I mean, if people don't know what Monkey Ball is, you are a monkey in a little ball, and it's just like it's like a 3D assault course type thing, but you don't move the ball. You don't move the ball at all. You move the platform that it's on. You control the floor and whatever. So you tilt a bit like is it Marble Madness or whatever it is, where you move the tilt the floor around, and the ball would basically move whichever momentum it would be pushed in. So yeah, I found myself just frustratingly just banging my head against a few of those levels where it's just like there's just certain things that like it, you can't you know what you need to do, but your brain can't process the action quick enough to be able to react and do what you need to do, like get around a hole and watch out for something spinning round or moving around quick and just firing you off into the sun. Yeah, I do like Monkey Ball. I do like. I've not played it for, like I say, possibly even GameCube time. It's possibly the last time I played it, but there had been. I saw that there was some remakes. I think they remade the first one, like I say, and it wasn't amazing. I feel like people said it was a bit bare bones, and then this one is more like the greatest hits of all of the older ones. I think, if I remember rightly, it is anyway.
I was counting how many there were, but I got to like 14, and I thought I can't bother.
Yeah, I imagine there would have been one for DS and Wii, and probably maybe PS2.
Yeah, it definitely had a PS2 onwards,
Xbox,
and yeah, you're right,
stuff like that. I
feel like it was just everywhere. One of those titles.
Yeah, it did. It was like it was less like it was because it was a bit of an oddity. It was a very niche game that wasn't seen anywhere. It was so different to a lot of games at the time. And the multiplayer was good as well. I've not played any multiplayer on this, but the multiplayer was always good, where you had to like try and do like you like catapult off a ramp and try and land on targets and whatever you to get points and stuff like that. But I think GTA did some of those different things in the end, didn't they? They had the car levels where you'd have to land on platforms and stuff like that to get points in the cars.
That rings a bell. It's been years since I played GTA.
Yeah. So, I did play some of that. It runs fine on the Steam Deck as well. By the way, it absolutely runs, not an issue. I also tried I don't know what triggered me to do this. I played the first like 45 minutes or so of BioShock. It does run fine on the Steam Deck. I don't know what made me do it. I think it was the fact that I saw it in my games list, and I thought I'd never finished BioShock. I finished Infinite, but I never played.
Yeah, I never, because I need to have travel sick tablets to be able to play it. It makes me violently ill.
Yeah,
and, I've tried several times because I know like story wise it's outstanding, but it just makes me so violently ill. They need to just make a film so I can enjoy the plot. Or I should just watch a playthrough on YouTube. I don't do that enough. I need to watch more people play through games online. But I just don't do it enough. And you should just watch the endings, as everybody knows.
I suppose. I mean, I know the endings basically now. I know how the ending goes, just based of the fact that over the years it's
a bit of a meme.
You listen to exactly sort of thing. You hear podcasts and stuff discussed about it. I don't know explicitly how things go. I know the rough guide of how it goes, and then I played it. It seemed fine. It played fine. It looked a bit rough for what it was. I played the remastered version. I was like thinking, is this just original Bioshock? It doesn't feel like it's touched up in any way, shape, or form. It just feels like the old Xbox 360 game. But then
it's those eyes of yours that are just too high attuned to big frame rates and big graphics. I keep telling you, poke them, and you'll start accepting it for what it is.
Might have to. I forgot what I said. Oh, so I looked at I finished playing it, and then I got, when you play Steam games, you get like the Steam card things, wherever they are.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. I clicked on that, and I don't know if I'm imagining things, but I got a card that's like, potentially to me seems like it's a spoiler for the end of the game. I was looking at this going, why have they given me this?
That is weird if it is. I mean, you'd be better off asking Kev separately about that and see whether it is a spoiler, or just wait and see if you complete it. But that does seem mad. And maybe they've maybe they didn't have them back then and they've added it in since, if that makes sense. I can't think, would they have had the Steam cards back when that first came out? It feels like it's such an older game now.
The original Bioshock, no, but Bioshock Remastered, which was not relatively recently, but probably in the last 5 years.
But they might have made it for the original and then ported it across or something like that,
I mean, maybe, but it's
Either way,
strange.
it seems off,
It's not necessarily a spoiler. I'm just looking at it now. It's not necessarily a spoiler, but it does make you go, huh.
What does that mean?
It does put doubt in your mind as to what is going on. I mean, I could say what it is, because, I mean, Bioshock's old enough now to the point where it's like thinking... I mean, also, I don't know. That's the other thing. I don't explicitly...
I mean,
I don't explicitly
it's probably
know...
not necessary.
I don't explicitly know.
People who know.
Yeah.
But,
So, I mean, it's like... The card is an Atlas card. An Atlas is the guy on the radio talking to you. And the card, right, is Atlas, and it's just a profile picture of him. But he looks like a zombie. And I'm like... what? Is this like... I feel like it's told me something that I don't know as of yet. You know what I mean? It's either telling me something that's coming, or it's something that I've just not picked up on.
At the most, it's going to make you spend the game thinking about things and noticing things you wouldn't have picked up on. It's
exactly.
Like if someone...
It's suddenly put that doubt in my mind as to what is going on and whether...
I remember saying at the time that when Infinity War came out, I think it was Infinity War, it might have been Endgame, on the way into the cinema, this lady came out with her little kid going like... oh, it's all right. She's not really dead. Like, Iron Man or whatever character, Captain America will save him. Something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like Mrs. Sheepdog was like, what's wrong? Like, because I'm looking really annoyed. And I was like, that woman just randomly blurted out a spoiler to her son, and I'm really annoyed now because I feel like I'm going to spend and I spent the whole film wondering which... It must have been Endgame, because I spent the whole film wondering which woman was going to die, and then I sort of must have forgotten about it 3/4 of the way through, and it was only when we were leaving I suddenly thought, what film did she see? Because she didn't see this film. I don't know what film she was talking about, unless she was talking about what had happened in another film, and the kid maybe asked why something hadn't been resolved, but I don't have a clue what she was talking about in hindsight. And but I spent the whole film, every single scene, thinking this will be when this happens, and it did affect. So yeah, you'll be spending that whole time wondering why he looked like that. Is that a twist? He might have just had a green light on in his room.
That's it. I don't know. It's odd.
Maybe he'd just eaten a big bowl of spinach and it was just on his face.
Well, it is like green, like, and like yellow glowing eyes.
Maybe he has jaundice as well.
He might. I don't know.
I think on that note, I'm going to take a leaf out of Kev's book and tell you to slap an ad in here. I won't shout it. But we're at 35 minutes. That seems like a good midpoint, doesn't it? Beautiful. Well done. I'm sure that is a legitimate
see
advert.
if it works. We never know.
If everyone gets an ad this week, then Kev's doing it wrong somehow. Maybe him shouting. He's scared all the ads away every week. I mean, I say if it works this week, we'll blame Kev. But actually, I have been poking Spreaker and saying, where the bloody hell are our ads? And
have you really?
Yeah, like I said, every week they tell us to put 50 billion ads in, and we're like, nah, we'll put like a reasonable amount in across like the start,
we
end,
put the
and middle.
required amount in. It
Yeah,
requires this many ads in for it to be
that's a minimum.
yes, and then
And
that's about it.
yeah, so they keep nagging you about that, and then they're not putting them in. And I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't bother me really. I don't want the listener getting a worse experience, but they do nag that you're supposed to have this many in, and then I'm like, well, you keep sending us these messages saying put more in, and then when we do it, you don't do it. So I don't know. Anyway, Kev, bless him, has been demanding that ad every week, and it ain't happened. So we'll see.
Experiments now.
If you start getting them, blame me. I fixed it, everyone. Yay!
Yeah, you get ads now.
So you've done BioShock and Monkey Ball. Have you played anything else?
I played a little game. I heard about this game at the back end of last year, and I feel like I bought it in the sale at Christmas. A game called Save Room. It's quite topical, really, because with all the recent release of Resident Evil 4, and it's a puzzle game, and it's a puzzle game in the sense of in relation to what am I saying now? Resident Evil, because it is effectively the storage management stuff from Resident Evil, where you have a series of items and you have to fit them into your suitcase, backpack, whatever it is that you have, like you would a Resident Evil game where you have like a series of boxes, let's say like a grid, and you have to fit everything into that grid to be able to take it with you. And it is very much that. It is very much. Are
you playing the game as well, or is it just a puzzle?
No, it's literally a puzzle. It literally, you have to fit all these items into that set of squares. And once you do it, you click OK, and then it takes you to the next level. And there's like a different shaped square, set of squares, and you have to fit all these different guns in and whatever.
Does it even tell you whether the people made it?
It's nothing to do. It's literally nothing to do with that. It is literally just. It's got all the wrappings of like a Resident Evil, and it's made to look like that and whatever. But there is singularly just the organisation of all your items. It's the management of all your goods and trying to put them all into this space. And I did like about 20 odd levels of it maybe, and I found myself I kind of got enraptured. I got stuck in the end because I just couldn't fathom out what it wanted me to do with like 3 or 4 guns and all these bullets and the herbs, and it slowly ramps you up. Like you start off and you just boom boom boom, put them in, fine. And then it's like, this is a snug fit, so you have to like rotate the guns, fit them all in, but then it comes to the point where it's like, okay, combine your 2 sets of ammo to make a 24 pack of ammo instead of two 12. So that gets rid of two spaces there. That's 2 spaces free to fit stuff. And then it's like, oh, load the gun up as well. So then I load some bullets into the gun, so that frees up more bullet space. Or combine the herbs together to create a med pack or whatever it is, a med spray. So then that frees up some space as well. It's like it's all trying to manage these different things, and it, like I say, it's I don't even know how much it is on stuff. But it's not expensive. I think I got it for like £2. It's £2.50 out off without the sale. I think I probably got it for about £2. But
do you think they started designing a full game and then ran out of time and thought, it's a good.
I don't know. I feel like they just thought it was a good idea to have the like that the organization mini game as a game of itself, because it is that. It's not just one thing. It is very much that thing of it. It is a mini game within itself, trying to juggle all your items and trying to fit all these different things into your inventory. And
it sounds novel. I suppose people just come up with their own ideas, don't they? I'll make this
as a nifty little game.
Try to be different.
It was just a nice evening where I spent like, let's say, 45 minutes to an hour just doing it's like I say, because it's got all like the foreboding music and kind of creepy sort of music like a Resident Evil would, But it's not scary. It's not a scary game in any way, shape, or form, because it just isn't that. It's a puzzle game.
Back in the bag, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a puzzle game where you're just moving things around, shuffling items around into your inventory space, and then
It was a big assumption to say it's not scary if you're scared of bags or herbs or bullets. Then
I haven't played.
Scary.
I've only played the first 20 levels or so I haven't seen any further than that. There could be zombies in the game that just start slowly walking towards you while you're trying to do this. I don't know. It could make it a lot harder.
That'd be quite funny if you're like, yeah, it's fine, and it turns out it's just a darker and darker and darker game as it goes on, and you're like, yeah, no, it's really sweet.
I mean, it could be. It genuinely could be. Like I say, I don't know because I've only played like I say, 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, I did enjoy that. The only other thing I did play, like I say, I mentioned last week that I found it near impossible to get into the open beta for Diablo 4. Kev had played the week before. Kevin and Anna had played on the closed beta, but last weekend was the open beta, and it seemed impossible to get in the queues. The queues were just stupid. But I did play like periodically over the weekend. Didn't seem as hard on if you know what you're expecting. Like I say, I could put on, boot it up, and you're in a queue for half an hour, fine, I can just leave it on, and I'll just watch something on Twitch or YouTube or whatever, and eventually I got in. But on the Sunday, it was like 4-minute queue. I was like, it's not bad at all. And I played it, and I did enjoy what I played, and I will get it, and I do know that there is control support on the PC, so that's where I will be getting it. That's what I was very skeptical about was...
What is... So, do they have multiplayer? Because I've not played... I didn't play Diablo 3 with anyone. Yes. I played it for like an hour and a half. I think I was just busy. I didn't get the bug for it, and then I was busy and I never played it. So I've barely played Diablo. But I'm thinking, like, if everyone's going to be jumping on this, it's going to be a big deal, and everyone's going to be playing it, then it probably be worth getting.
It'd be huge. It'll be huge because I mean, it's been 10 years since Diablo 3, more. So, I know they've been updating Diablo 3 and doing different things with it constantly, but people have been after a Diablo sequel. And I did enjoy what I played. I played like I want to say sorceress, something like that. It had fire spells and lightning spells, and the skill trees are massive. And I don't know what level I could get up to. I did a boss, and then I eventually stopped. I probably played about in total maybe like 3 hours, maybe, which probably isn't that much. I feel like there's a lot more content in that beta, but it's coming out in June, I want to say. I don't know if it'll do another beta. They might, or like something a bit closer to the time. I know if you pre-order, you get the game 4 days early with it, but it is June. It's June when it's coming out. Yeah, it is very much Diablo game. It seems a lot more. I don't know if it's just because it's better graphics. So I feel like it's a lot more gothic. A lot more like
actually the vibe they're going for. Then
I feel like they've gone back a bit more to Diablo 2. I didn't play a ton of Diablo 2, but I did see a fair amount of the Resurrected when that came out last year before. When that came out, I watched some people play that one for a bit, and it seems much more like Diablo 2 than it did Diablo 3. I know I did mention last week that they took out the patented role that they came out when the console version came out of Diablo 3. That's no longer in there, but there is a well, to be fair, the sorceress has a dodge button. It's on a cooldown, where I assume that is just a generic move that is with all the characters. Yeah, I did enjoy what I played. I was playing on PlayStation; it ran fine, and it seemed like
it's positive, to be fair, because these days games when they come out, you hear so many that come out and it's like it didn't run fine, it was a mess, and they brought it out too early. It's good to hear that they've...
when this game launches, it'll be like this again, but much worse. That's like all online games like this. There will be queues for days. Not days queuing, but you know what I mean. For days, there will be long queues to get
I
in.
don't fully understand this because I guess I do understand it in a way because it probably is just the cost ultimately. But all this stuff's done in the cloud now, and clouds are like they expand with the demand and then they shrink back down again. So you can pay you can go to someone like Amazon or Microsoft and you can say like this is going to be stupidly hyped for the first month and then it's going to drop. So I don't want to buy a whole data center, but I do want to meet demand. So then Microsoft can just be like, right, yeah, we'll give you, as much as you need. And it will cost, the more you have, the cheaper each one will be individually, but overall you'll be spending more money. And then after the first month, it will just drop back down to the normal amount. And yet they don't seem to do that ever. They seem to just go, well, we'll get X. And then they go, oh, God damn it, we got it wrong. And it's like...
Usually it's like, for me, it seems to me that they don't do it because it lasts about, 3 or 4 days to a week max, and then it dies down. So they just do ride the wave. And then it also happens when big games like this happen, you get certain wangs that like to just DDoS them and just mess everyone's plans up and just ruins it for everyone. And you're like, why?
But that's another thing you can defend against DDoSing is, they can that's part of the services.
Oh, I imagine people do, but it still
happens.
And it's just another thing you don't need.
I suppose it's all expenses that like a lot of companies just can't afford and can't do, but I don't know. I just thought that some of the biggest launches, you'd think they would have something like that, or at least if they can't afford it, then you'd think the likes of Amazon and Microsoft would have probably realised they're missing a trick. They could make money from that. They could make money by not charging as much.
Especially when it'll potentially, by the time June rolls around, June is when the date is they're supposed to finishing up the deal for Activision Blizzard. So they could be a Microsoft company by that point.
Yeah, so then they could then make their launch huge.
I mean, they might be absolutely fine, and they might do that. But based on the fact that the beta was just insane, and there was queues for, like I say, I had 90-minute queues on it at times. But then again, like I say, on the Sunday it was fine. So it's just people need to just set their expectations and calm themselves and stop losing their minds about it.
You heard him, everyone.
There was one thing I did notice, which surprised me. There is like not shared world, but like how you have a Destiny. Did you ever play any Destiny, Sheepdog?
I did. I think we played it together at one point.
Possibly. Destiny, you go through certain worlds and you'd find other people just wandering about. You're not in your party, just random people just wandering about. You couldn't really affect, you couldn't really affect their gameplay, but you could help fight things and what have you. That is in this game, so there are other people in the world that you can just wander into and fight enemies. There's like world bosses and like certain things that require co-op sort of things to defeat and what have you. But it startled me because there's some quests require you to do an emote to do certain things or what have you. There was a quest that kept pointing me to this direction and do an emote or something. I don't know what it wanted me to do. And I kept finding a lot of people stood around doing it, and I was like, I don't know what's going on here. What are these NPCs doing? And I realised they were people, but they just suddenly dart off and run away. And I was like, I don't think that NPC's supposed to do that. And I realised it was actual people.
It's quite funny. You're thinking you're just
it didn't really. Because I wasn't 100% paying attention to what I was doing. I was just kind of following the arrows. I wasn't really watching what it wanted me to do. I went there and then I saw people doing stuff and emotes and waving at me, and so I waved back at them. And then I thought, I don't know what it wants me to do because it's not taking over that I've done the quest. I don't know what it wants to do. And then I just watched some people just run off off the screen. I was like, where did he just go? I'm meant to follow him. So I followed them for a bit, and then they just disappeared because eventually you go into a different instance and then you lose them and then they're gone. So you can do co-op in Diablo like the old ones. And you can do world bosses with like Destiny and other games like that, like probably Lost Ark and New World and all these MMO type games where you can do just world bosses and different things like that. So I look forward to that one in June. It's a long time off now, really. Well, it's not April. We're in April now, effectively, aren't we? When this comes out, it will be April. It will be April Fool's Day. Will it be out?
This will be an
it'll be out
elaborate
at 10
April
will it
Fool.
be out at
Kev's
10
going to
o'clock?
appear in a minute.
Yeah, will it be out at 10 o'clock? Who knows?
If I'd have realised, I'd have done some hilarious intro like "Welcome to Gardener's World." This is Alan Titchmarsh's gardening hour. He's still alive, isn't he? I assume. He's probably
to
still
be fair,
alive.
who knows we didn't do that, Sheepdog, because the power of editing means that we could just put it on, record it at the end, and I'll just whack it at the front.
Oh, we're so funny.
Yes, we are very witty.
So clever.
But yeah, I think that is everything for me. I don't think I've played anything else.
That's a decent haul, though. You've
I've played
basically
a
carried
lot
us
more
for an
than I
hour,
thought.
Pab. I'm gonna have to rush my stuff to fit it in the hour now. I've played one new game for me, not new for the world. I've started Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion.
Oh,
and
you purchased this, did you?
Yeah, I got it for Christmas, so it shows
Wow,
how on top
okay.
of my gaming pile I am. At Christmas, I got that. I got Midnight Suns, and I got something else. I've also had bloody Cyberpunk for months and not played it. But I was thinking to myself the other day, I should really be playing some of those games, and I fired this up. I also, as it was starting, I googled how long does it take to complete. It was like, 13 hours. That's even better. I can smash this out. I thought I'd have it smashed out by now, but I didn't. I think it's 13 for the story, and then 40 if you do all of the extras. And I thought, okay, there's missions you can do,
and you'll always do that. You'll always find yourself doing stuff you're not.
Yeah.
If you try and mainline anything, I feel like you'll find yourself just off on the beaten track at some point.
Yeah.
Even if you're not trying to 100% it, if you just try and do bits, and you average at about the 20-hour mark. It's probably about right.
Yeah, which is probably pretty much what I want, because I'm thinking I can play it I didn't play it as much as I wanted to this week because I'm doing the game jam, but I have played a bit of it, and I was nervous because I was expecting it to be just hit square over and over again, and triangle does this and whatever. But actually, while square is attack, and you just attack, and you can dodge with another button. You can also set your materia up like Final Fantasy VII had. So you set 40 buttons, you have to press LB, and then triangle will do whatever when you've set to that. So you can be like, right, I'm going to set fire to you, I'm going to throw some ice at you, I'm going to throw whatever at you, I'm going to stab you, and then and it has some interesting bits to it, like it has a slots thing that rolls, and sometimes it'll be like, right, for the rest of this battle, you don't have to use your MP anymore, or you don't have to. You're not going to lose health for a little bit, and that's interesting. It's just been, I'm impressed. It looks good on my computer. It's more Final Fantasy World. Nice bit of background story with Zack and everything like that I've obviously not learned. I think friends of mine have already played this when it was being remastered and brought out. They're all hyped because they hadn't played it in years, whereas I just remember reading about it in a magazine. And I think they released this, and they released a game on Japanese mobile phones that was about the Turks from Final Fantasy VII, and I think it's called Before Crisis. And I remember reading about them, but never actually checking them out. And I didn't. I think was this on PSP originally? Maybe.
Yes,
Crisis
it was.
Core.
Yes, it was.
I remember being on something I didn't have, and just thinking I'll play it one day, and then here I am playing it, but. I kept meaning to check out whether I could ever play Before Crisis, because that one sounded quite cool. But I'm hoping I'll get through it, catch up. If it's really good, it might encourage me to go back and play Dirge of Cerberus, because I never played that all the way through. I got stuck in a room and never bothered with it. But I also need to play Final Fantasy VII remake again, remaster, whatever it's called. I got to a certain point in that, and I haven't gone back, and it wasn't because I didn't like it. I thought it was amazing, but I think I missed. I tried to get the all materia. I got it, and then I think I don't know if my PlayStation got turned off by mistake.
On that? PlayStation.
Sorry. Yeah, I was playing Final Fantasy VII remake on the PlayStation. I was playing Crisis Core on the PC, but I think one of my kids turned my PlayStation off, and then when I restarted it, I didn't get the all materia, and I couldn't go back and get it. And then I was annoyed because I was like, well, I need that. And I mean, it probably turned out when you play the next bit of it later on, you can get hundreds of them or something, but I was just miffed that I didn't get it. And I just, I don't know. But no, it's cool. I feel like Final Fantasy games I need to get into them more. I used to be really into them, and now I'm playing it and I'm like, it's okay. The acting's a little bit off on it, but it's all right. I don't know. Maybe I've just grown out of them, which is fine if I have. I'm not. I don't think it's bad at all. I'm trying to regrow my interest in it. It used to be a big deal to me, and I haven't really. I don't know. It hasn't grasped me yet. It's funny enough. The gameplay's fine. yeah, I'll keep going and I'll keep posted on it. But I think it's I got it for Christmas and then it like immediately dropped in price in like January, February. So it's I think it's cheaper now to get and it's worth a crack if anyone hasn't got it. Beyond that, I've obviously been back on the Football Manager train. I played full fat Football Manager at the weekend and last week. Been playing it in the week a little bit, and yeah, I'm loving that. It is definitely easier to play when you actually can read it and pay attention to it and think about what's going on. And I'm still hooked on the mobile version, although despite being the best team in the universe for several seasons in a row, I seem to have suddenly hit a bad patch. And I'm like, how have I hit a bad patch 5 years into the club? You know, being there, it seems a bit like, I don't know. What else have I been doing? I wanted to point out there's been a massive, I don't know if you've seen online the amount of hate that Pokemon Go is getting at the moment. They dropped an announcement that they are planning on limiting the amount of remote raids you can do to 5 a day, but they're also going to put the price of them from I think to buy one it's going to be like 150 or 200 coins, and if you want to buy a pack of 3 it's going to cost you 550 instead of 300. And they're basically like, yeah, we're going to put the price up, we're going to limit how effective they are, and we're going to limit how many you can use. And everyone's just gone ballistic. They're all just like, right, no, I'm not playing anymore, that's it, you've killed it, it's done, I'm done. I was having a little whinge at them earlier going like, I can't understand why you keep making these really cynical decisions. Like, this is costing them a lot of money. I don't know, like they kept saying it's not in line with their core vision for the game, and it's like, yeah, well, your vision for the game is probably broken then, you know? Like, if your vision of the game is to do such foolish stuff, then I don't think you should continue doing it. I feel like they should probably let somebody else run the game because they just don't seem to get what people want. I think I've seen it was trending with like 20,000 tweets, and I think I saw one that was positive. And to be fair, that one, it was some crypto bro with his hexagon profile picture, and I just thought I think he's baiting people here. I think he's trying to get people to be annoyed at him, so his profile gets more of a boost. He's trying to game the algorithm rather than actually giving a statement on anything. But no, it's interesting seeing how many people I know have suddenly said they're not interested anymore, and I don't want. And it's like, God, my community of friends that play it has suddenly taken a bit of a hit, which is a shame.
That'd be bad.
I think they probably will. They probably will. Like, I'm not gonna panic, but I do feel a little bit like, ooh, God.
I mean, for me, limit it to 5 remote raids a day. I mean, that to me seems fair. I don't know how many people you do in average anyway, but I mean,
yeah, I don't do more than that anyway. But
the core of the game was to be doing these raids in person and getting out and about, and that's the point of the app, wasn't it? To get people walking around and doing stuff. To then say, since people saying, it's not fair, I can't just sit in my living room and just do these hundreds of them a day, or whatever it is that they're doing. You're like, well, that's
those
not the
people,
point.
I can see your point, and I can, I can accept that somebody who's like, oh, I want to play it this way, I want to sit in a cupboard all day, basically, and never move, sure. But I do feel like what bothers me about it is that I've got, obviously, my friends from down in Essex that I don't see very often, but we raid together a lot. I've got friends in Scotland that I raid with a lot. I've got friends all over the world who I raid with a lot. I've got random people from Japan who just always invite me on a Tuesday to do a raid, and I do a quick raid with them. And I feel like this doesn't really affect people if they live in a city, and if they've got like 20 gyms on their street and they can just put Pokemon in all the gyms and they get, a couple of thousand coins a month for nothing, doesn't affect them. But in my town, it's completely dominated by spoofers, and the amount of times I report it to Pokemon, to Niantic, and they just do nothing about it. Yeah, it's annoying for me because I only really play with people far away, and there's not enough people in my town to do that. Most of the raids need like 6 or 7 people to turn up and do them. And there ain't 6 or 7 people locally who are going to want to do that.
Well, that's it.
There used to be.
That's it. And I think they're trying to turn the ship around from COVID stuff with remote raids and get people out and about again. And you're right, you're doing it with people that aren't around, like say in Japan or whatever. That's fine. But do you need to do more than 5 of them a day?
No, exactly. That's the bit where I'm like, no, absolutely I don't. And those people...
I've never done it, but I mean, I play it every day, but I don't do any raid stuff because I don't know anyone around here to do it. And the remote raid stuff, I don't have enough coins to do that sort of thing. So I don't
It does
buy
feel
raid
like
passes. So
it prevents it being pay to play to an extent, which is a good thing. I think the 5 limit is fine. I think the price hike is a joke, and I think their like apprehension and their like insistence on trying to curtail it is frustrating because yeah, they could have just said, look, we're putting a bit of a cap on it because we feel like people just throwing. Yeah, there's somebody who said I spend $100 a week on this, and it's like you are just.
you're the problem.
It's yeah, it's weird. Like that's 100 raids basically a
Yeah.
week. You know, if they were doing Monday to Friday only, that's 20 a day, and you just think, what's the point? Like you're basically throwing money at it until you get your 100% shiny or whatever. You're always going to have the absolute, and it's like, yeah, at that point, they're not going to be able to do any sort of competitive fighting without having all the best stuff and all of this. And it's like, so yeah, I get that they want it to be more. You get what you get, or if you want to go out and meet loads of people, then great. But I don't know. I just feel like it's very frustrating that they never seem to go, hey guys, we've announced this new thing that if you do the raids in person, you get all these cool new things and it's really cool. They kind of always go, we're going to set fire to this thing over here, and then you're going to have to avoid the fire because if you don't, you know, if you try and go near it, you're going to get burned. So avoid the fire. Don't tread on the landmines we've placed down. And it's like you could just use the carrot rather than constantly using the stick. It feels like they really don't like their players, and yeah, God, I wish I could just not be into it. Like I'm really into it. You know, I play it all the time. I'm trying to level up on it and stuff, and it's just like there's lots of stuff to do, and I just part of me is like, God, I either need them to sell the game or I need to somehow go off it. But I think if I go off it, I end up going off all of it. And I don't want to go off all of it. I like all of it. But yeah, the other thing I've been doing this week, I realised they've been on Scarlet and Violet. They've been bringing out. Like every month they bring out a new special raid in that, and I just completely missed 2 of them in a row, and I was like, for goodness sake, like they bring them back for a bit and you're supposed to get them on the rebound if you missed them, and it suddenly occurred to me I've missed loads of them. So I got on there today in my lunch break because the new one came out on that. They brought out, I think it was Samurott, they brought out, and yeah, you just go in there and raid. But that was marginally annoying in itself as well, because then everyone I was paired with just had the worst plan. They were going to attack a water type with a fire type, and they were going to, you know, use a steel type when it had all these earth-based moves. And it was like, have none of you done any, like, I feel like I was probably just playing with people who just were thinking I'll jump in and let everybody else kill it, but there was just 4 of us, and I was the only one doing any work. Yeah, it took me ages. It should have been a real quick in and out battle, and it took me like 5 attempts. And I was just like, oh man, I don't know if I can be bothered with these. I might go back to just missing them and forgetting them and wait for the DLC to drop. But yeah, other than that, I mean, it's been a decent week. I think, you know, the Final Fantasy Crisis Core is the highlight, and Football Manager continues to be awesome. And yeah, the only other thing I've ever been playing quite a lot is More Words with Friends. It shocks me that I've got into that. A few people I know play it, and I'm hammering that. I'm absolutely smashing someone at the moment. I'm nearly at 500 points, and they're at like 200, and I'm just like, hell yeah, I'm a wordsmith here. Absolute genius. But yeah, that is my lot.
I've been hammering Marvel Snap at the minute. It's coming to the last week of the Battle Pass, and
A
once
friend
again,
of mine plays that. He keeps telling me to play it, and I keep sort of,
it's very good.
yeah, I keep thinking about it, and then I don't play it, and
It's good. It's good. It is. I'm on the Battle Pass, trying to hammer out the Battle Pass now. I'm about level 32, I think. I am.
Do you play against other people?
Yeah. It plays against other people. Yeah. I don't think you do initially. I think you're playing against bots until a certain point in your skill level, sort of thing, and then it starts letting you get into the wild. And it's it's not always about winning that game. A lot of it's about just doing the challenges. The challenges that come up to give you XP to work through the Battle Pass, because the Battle Pass, they're about 5 to 6 weeks long, maybe. I think it's about a month long, actually. I don't know. I think it's about a month long, to be fair. Month-long Battle Passes. I like the fact that the content changes monthly, but the fact that it costs me £8 a month to do this, it's like I can't. It's like I don't know how long I can keep doing this, but I am enjoying it. I am enjoying doing it. It's just the problem is, like I say, I always just kind of dilly-dally on it and don't play it too much. And then I get to the last week of it, and last week of the pass, I'm like, oh, I've got to really hammer it now to try and get up as many levels as I can before I do it. I think you get to level 50 is the cap on the content for the season. So
I imagine that's what everyone kind of does. Only the hardcore are going to be going through that in the middle. If it's anything like when I do the Pokemon Go battle thing, if I start on day one, it's such a bun fight. All the hardcore are there, and you just get dominated. And then if I don't touch it for a week or 2 weeks, if I start like really late in the season, the only people on level 1 are like the rubes who have no idea what they're doing, and you absolutely destroy them. And I just have a clear sailing right the way through until suddenly I'm like, oh, okay, it's getting hard now. I must have caught up with everybody. If I get to like the higher levels where everyone's suddenly starting to get compacted and you suddenly start hitting all these ceilings. But yeah, it's a much nicer experience to just go and win every battle because you're just fighting all the people who have no idea what they're doing or just doing it casually. So yeah, maybe it's a bit like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't help that, like, on a monthly basis, the whole, not the meta changes, but, they have, like, a refresh and the reevaluation of the cards and what new cards come out. They bring out, like, 4 or 5 new cards every month. And what old cards did. So I had a really good deck that I liked using last season, I think, or last month, or maybe January. And then they changed how one of the cards worked, which was kind of key to my deck. And it then kind of like was like, I've got to build it. So I built a whole new deck, and now I'm waiting for the drop where it's like, this card is now nullified and it's no longer any use this season. And I've got to build a new deck, and that's the worst thing. I'm really bad at building decks. I don't know what I'm doing. I tend to just build decks based on me getting my ass whooped by people.
Say and you are better at building decks than you are at building computers.
Probably, but only based on similar to building a computer. Watching someone else do it first.
Your cards ain't on fire.
Not yet. But yeah, I have been touching that one.
I was gonna say, finish that sentence.
I've been just like,
good lord.
I play it in like I say, because a game lasts 5 minutes. I can play a game 5 minutes and not play it again, or if I'm in the mood, I can play like 4 or 5 games, just go back to back to back to back, because I can play like, what's that, probably 30, 35 minutes, something like that. But then it's like, you just don't know. I don't always know what sort of mood I'm in to, like I say, sometimes you can have a really demoralising ass whooping, and it's just like, to put it down, I've had enough. Or then you can kind of like domino effect where you get on a roll of wins, and then you get a load of challenges done, and you get a load of XP, and then you do a load of seated battle passes, and your actual power level goes up, so then you get a load of boosters for cards, so you can upgrade the cards, and it just goes stacks like that, and you can find yourself on there for half an hour to an hour, or like I say, 5 minutes, and I'm done and I'm out, and that's all I play.
I think that's similar again with the go back. Oh, it is, yeah. If I absolutely smash someone, I'm like, yeah, that's my evening sorted. I'm going to play this. But yeah, if I lose and I'm feeling a bit jaded, I'm like, right, I'm out. See you in hell.
Yep.
Oh, well, that makes
I
sense. Have we got any more? We've done all right. We've managed to go well over an hour.
I know.
It's been a pleasure speaking to you, Pabby.
Telling me to do even more ads now. We've reached the hour mark.
This has all been one giant ad brought to you by Pepsi Max. Drink Pepsi Max. Pepsi owes money. Now send them the usual bill, the usual invoice. I wonder if I sent them an invoice, whether they would just pay it. If I just sent them the link. If I said to them, just skip to 1 hour 8, the ad's there, just as we agreed. That'll be $4,000, please. They're big enough. They'd just go, oh, it's cheaper than normal.
No,
I might try it. I'll try it. We'll have a bet. I bet you $4,000 that it doesn't work, and then I win either way. Deal?
No.
Right. Well, I can't remember what Kev normally says here. Is it, did you know you can find us at MG UK Podcast, or I'm at RB6K?
And I'm at Pab 1986. I think that's right. I was thinking, I was trying to run it through my head as to how he works it, but it sounds about right.
Sounded vaguely on point. And if you don't already know, which you do, they're at Lelujo and Miss Lelujo. Go and heckle them for spending their week queuing for free tickets when it's been cancelled. And that's your lot. We'll catch you next week. Have a good week.
Thanks for listening, folks.